Well, good day and welcome. Today we do a little tutorial. We do a little coil winding. I'm not a coil builder, but I'm certainly a coil winder. I wind my own coils, which is a very easy thing to do. You can buy all sorts of wires when you go onto the different sites or into a vape shop. They have all kinds of Claptons, Aliens, everything can be bought on a wire coil, and you can normally get 10 foot of it, or if you just buy simple wire, it can be 30 foot, let's say 25 gauge NR80 wire or 24 gauge Cantle A1 wire, which I still use. I use 24, 26, 28. I'm a master langer, so for me the simple micro coil still has a use. But today we do a little coil for the Wasp Nano, because what I want to do in future is do some testing of juices. So I got myself 3 Wasp Nanos and I'll coil them up exactly the same way. What I have here is a piece of Cantle A1 wire. It's a simple Clapton. It has a core of 26 gauge and it has an outer winding of 32 gauge. And I will wind it 6 windings, which will be a relatively high wattage, but that's what I want. I want it to heat up quickly so I can do some testing of juices, and I like to vape on low wattage anyway. So the higher your ohm of your coil, the lower your wattage on your device needs to be. Now what you need are some simple tools. What I got myself is something like this. Let's get out of it. Wrong way around. Here we go. Here we go. So it's a DIY mini toolkit. I got it myself in January when I was in Germany. Went into one of the vape shops and they had that. And a couple of stuff in here. You've got a screwdriver. You've got your ceramic tweezers. Let's take that out. We're going to need that. You've got your normal tweezers. Let's take that out as well. We might need that too. You get... this was not in there. You get a coil winding tool. Let's get that a bit closer to the camera, see if it wants to focus in. Yeah, I think you can see there are numbers written on there. This would be the inner diameter of your coils. So every step corresponds with a step on this little shaft here. And you can wind your coils by hand right here. Works perfectly well. Nothing wrong with it. Get a pair of scissors, get a pair of pliers. This is not the highest quality you will ever get, but it certainly is enough to get you started. The screwdriver has a couple of inserts, so it has 2 different hex diameters. It has a star and a flat screw. Here we go. Then the other thing I got myself, you saw the coil winding tool in there. Works well. You can just wind it by hand. I got myself, let's zoom in a little bit again. I got myself something like this, which is the Coil Master coil winding kit. Doesn't take much space, which is I always like, and it comes with this stuff here. Here we go. Let's get everything in the camera shot. Here we go. It comes with these little shafts in different diameters. Let's get that closer to the camera again. Here we go. You can see 30, 15, 40. You can see all the different numbers on there. That means the inner diameter. The 30 means 3.0 inner diameter. So let's use one of them, because what you do is you take the long handle here, unscrew the top piece, you take out whichever inner diameter you decide upon. You put that into here and you screw that back on. And here we go. You have a tool rod. And even just when you place coils in your atomizer itself, you just take out that little extension here and you can use that to manipulate your coils. And then on the other hand, you have these things, which are basically the rods which go on here. Now this is a 3mm, so we need the one which says 30. And here it is. Here we go. It fits up perfectly on here. This is how you wind your coils I will show that to you in a minute. Now you get different types of apps for your cell phone. You can go on steam-engine.org, and there you can actually see what kind of wire you have. You can see how many windings you want according to what resistance you want. So you can actually work out very nicely before you even start giving in all the parameters, like what is your wire, what is your inner diameter, what do you want, and you can work out in advance what you want. And what it also gives you, it gives you more or less the entire length of the wire which you need. So what you can do is then let's pre-cut your wire. So we take a little bit of wire out of here. Here we go. Now the reason this wire is loose because it jumped off the plastic spool it was wound around. Let's see, where are we? This is the one which we want. Right. And here I go. I always go a bit longer than what they recommend, so I go at 12-13 centimeters. Take my wire cutters right over here, and we cut our piece of wire. And that's it. Done. Done. You can just put our wire in through here, and I can hang this up again. Right. So that's the piece of wire we're going to work with. We don't need the ruler anymore. Put that away. Very well. The wire cutters we will need, so we put that to one side. Now with the atomizer I want to coil on today is a single coil atomizer, and he has only 2 holes. So in other words, it does matter which way you wind your coil around. In this case, it would be of advantage to wind my coil counterclockwise. It's actually not something I've done before. So as you see, you have a little hole here. You put your wire through here. You hold on with your thumb. You just give your wire half a wind around the rod here. Now you take your cylinder and you pop it in here and you turn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can make 1 extra. Reason I do 1 extra is because I want to have 6 windings. I think I have 7 on here now. I always get lost here. So I always do 1 more. Why do I do 1 more? Well, when you take the coil out here, you see that your first winding is always it's always not perfect. It's always not nice. If you like it nice, you wind 1 more, and then you just take 1 wind off. Let me see, what are we having here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's perfect. That's what we want. We want 6. On the other side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that is a... Are we going to do it right? Yeah, we're going to do it. We do it like that. You can always wind 1 off. It's always more difficult, especially once you have cut your wire, to put 1 back on. Right, what I also want, I want to have space it a bit, because then it fits better into my atomizer. In order to space it, what you do is you just put your nails into your wire right over here, and you give it a bit of a pull. See that? Just pull it a little bit. Then you take your little cylinder over here, put it on your coiling rod and push it back in, and you see you have a wonderfully nice, evenly spaced coil. Not too bad, if I have to say so myself. So there she is. So let's get the pliers. We don't need any more. Right. Now, we obviously need an atomizer to put this in. So I've showed you now how to wind the coil, and that was actually the whole exercise I wanted to do with you. But let's just put it into an atomizer while we are at it. As I said, we're using the Wasp Nano. Got myself a couple of those. on here. Here we go. So, get my screwdriver here. Make sure everything is nice and open without screwing the screws out. Also the Wasp Nano has flathead screws. What is it with flathead screws? My people, okay. Are these the most uncomfortable screws to work with? Yes, they are. Right, and you see the coil folds right in here. Just perfect. And then you can obviously, yeah, let's do that. In order to make sure you have your coil really where you want it and keep it in place, and that it doesn't get mangled up too much, you obviously can do your coiling rod. You remember the 3mm coiling rod we had in our Coil Master tool? Just put it in here, and then you can keep it in position, and then you put your screwdriver on here. Hey. Did I tell you before that I hate these flat screws? Yeah, I might have mentioned it once or twice. Here we go. One. And let's take this one in. Two. Just position it with the it's a bit high, so we push it down just a tad. Still a bit high for the Wasp Nano, because you want to have it right there, maybe just a tad off center from the airflow, so that the air hits the coil from underneath and the side. That, I would guess, is the optimal thing to do. Let's go a bit closer. Will you focus in? Yes, you will. You might see the airflow there on the side, comes right through from here. Here we go. Airflow comes right through from here, hits the coils. Still can go a little bit lower, because if you look from the side, in other words, if you look through the airflow, here we go. Let me look at it. Now you see the coil there very nicely. There we go. Then you snip it off. Snip your wire off on this side, and this is very nicely with the Wasp Nano. It has a bit of a step here, so when you snip it off, you don't need to be afraid. Oh, let's make sure you have the wire between your wire cutters, otherwise it will not cut very well. Here we go. See, this step makes it very easy to cut them, because you don't need to worry that the wire will be against your chamber over here. There we go. All works and fits very well. There you go. Let's see what it comes out at. I might have a winding too many on here. 0.71. That's not what we wanted. It's the winding too many. So if that happens to you, nothing to worry about. You take your coil out of here, unscrew the flap button flathead screws. Need to get myself a couple of sets of hex screws. Take it out. Easier said than done. Here we go, just folds out. Take your rod, put it on your rod, take one winding out, pair of pliers. There we go. Now we are more where we want to be. Put it back in to your atomizer. Let's get into camera shot again. Put your coiling rod in again. There we go. As we want to make sure that the short side is secured, because that's more difficult to adjust. Right, then we take this one in. Again, we try to position our coil more or less where we want it. Look through the airflow. I can go down maybe just a millimeter. Here we go. You see it's more or less flush with the top. And when you have it flush on a 3mm coil like that, it's more or less in position. We cut off this piece of wire over here again. Here we go, and that. Now we check again on our mod, which is in this particular case the Vaporessor Gen, not the Gen X or Gen S, or whatever. They're all the same, let's be honest here. Right, we are now at 0.6. We glow it out around about 40 watts. This is a space coil, so it glows out very nicely. Still comes out at around about 0.6 once the wires, once everything is in. So that's more or less where the others are as well, and that is where I want it. So, and that's it. You have just coiled up and wound your own coil, and that's as easy as it is. And as I say, you don't need all fancy tools. You can wind it around a screwdriver. Drill bits, very popular when guys started out to do some coiling. They use drill bits because you know exactly what your inner diameter is. Use a 3mm drill bit and wind it by hand. Obviously having the coil master, like, hey, come here, like this one. I like it because it makes the coil, make them look nice. But if they are not perfect, they still fire. You know what they look like. It's not that important. As long as they are safe, you are good. You're good to go. And that's how I wind my coils. Hope you enjoyed that. And you have an awesome day. Greetings from Cape Town, and goodbye.